Tonight's headlines: West Philippine Sea dispute discussion eyed on Marcos's visits to Indonesia and Singapore. Philippines and Indonesia to renew deal on defense and security. Congress urged to review Magna Carta for health workers. Department of Health recommends extension of state of calamity to NDRRMC. Batanes still under signal number 2. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas raises minimum capital requirement for rural banks. And stocks gain, peso posts weakest. Good evening. Today is Friday, September 2, 2022. I am Elmer Navarro Manuel and this is Tribune News on Q. Here are the stories for this evening. The Department of Foreign Affairs said Friday that the West Philippine Sea dispute will be a subject of discussion when President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. visits Indonesia and Singapore next week. Marcos will be in Indonesia from September 4 to 6 and Singapore from September 6 to 7 to hold separate meetings with Indonesian President Joko Widodo, Singaporean President Halima Yacob, and Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong on bilateral relations and other matters. DFA spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza said that there will be talks on key regional discussions of mutual interests, including the West Philippine Sea or South China Sea issues, cognizant that all three countries actually have the common goal of maintaining peace and stability and preventing incidents in this particular part of the world. The Philippines and China are locked in a territorial dispute over parts of the South China Sea, including what Manila refers to as the West Philippine Sea, which is believed to be rich in oil and other energy resources. The Philippines and Indonesia are set to renew the 1997 Agreement on Cooperative Activities in the Field of Defense and Security, according to Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza. Daza said that the active defense and military engagement between the Philippines and Indonesia is really anchored on a 1997 cooperative agreement in the field of defense and security. She added that the deal would be signed by the Department of National Defense and the Ministry of Defense of Indonesia. Daza also underscored that this development is significant as the defense cooperation between the two countries has actually increased through the years. An official of the Philippine Federation of Professional Associations on Friday urged Congress to review the Magna Carta for public health workers. According to Dr. Benito Atienza, Magna Carta for health workers should be reviewed by the Senate and Congress so that additional protection could be given to health workers. He added that the country is experiencing a brain drain as nurses, medical technicians, and physical therapists go abroad for higher compensation. He earlier said bigger compensation should be given to deployed health workers. Meanwhile, Atienza said some health workers have yet to receive their benefits under the Bayanihan 1 and Bayanihan 2. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelovelo, Comfy Manalo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chert Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
In other news, the Department of Health said it submitted a recommendation to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council to extend the state of calamity in the country due to the COVID-19 pandemic. DOH officer in charge Maria Rosario Vergere said the department made the pitch following President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s earlier pronouncement that the state of calamity will most likely be in place until the end of the year. Vergere said the department also directed the Food and Drug Administration to encourage vaccine manufacturers to apply for their certificate of product registration, adding that part of Marcos's announcement to extend the state of calamity is needed to amend Republic Act 11525 or the COVID-19 Vaccination Program Act. Vergere earlier asked Congress to extend the validity of the COVID-19 Vaccination Program Act, saying its provisions would become invalid once the state of calamity is lifted. State Weather Bureau Pagasa announced that signal number 2 remains hoisted over Batanes as Typhoon Henry continues to weaken while moving northwestward over Philippine waters. Signal number 1 is still up over the Babuyan Islands and the northeastern portion of mainland Cagayan. Henry is expected to bring moderate to heavy rains over Ilocos Norte, Batanes, Babuyan Islands, and Abra on Friday night. Light to moderate to heavy rains are possible over Cagayan and the rest of the Ilocos region and Cordillera region. Moderate to heavy rains will prevail over Batanes on Saturday, while light to moderate with at times heavy rains may be experienced over the Babuyan Islands. In the next 24 hours, occasional gusts may also be experienced, especially in the coastal and mountainous areas over Metro Manila, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino, Ilocos region, Cordillera region, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Bicol region, Mimaropa, and the remaining localities in the mainland Cagayan that are not under the wind signal. In business, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has raised the minimum capital requirement for rural banks as part of efforts to boost the local banking sector's competitiveness. The central bank said its policy-setting monetary board approved amendments to the minimum capitalization of rural banks, and in particular, the monetary board approved the amendments to Section 121 of the Manual of Regulations for Banks as part of the Rural Bank Strengthening Program. BSP Governor Felipe Medalla said that the revised minimum capital requirements will result in stronger and well-capitalized rural banks underpinning a Philippine banking system that is stable, sound, resilient, and inclusive for Filipinos. The BSP added that in view of the liberalization in branching regulations and digitalization of banking services, the tiering of the new minimum capital requirements for rural banks only considers the rural bank's network size as indicated in the number of branches, including head offices, and no longer considers their area of operations. And the main stocks index finished the week up amid worries over the hawkish Federal Reserve stance, but the peso posted its weakest to date. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index rose by 1.58% or 104.37 points to 6,692.65 at the closing bell. The broader all shares followed after it rose by 1.44% or 50.49 points to 3,548.53. Most of the sectoral indices also gained during the day, led by holding firms after it inched up by 2.99%. Industrial followed with a 1.72% jump, along with services 1.47% and property at 0.76%. Volume reached 1.02 billion shares, amounting to 4.59 billion pesos. Advancers led decliners at 116 to 68, while 47 shares were unchanged. Meanwhile, the local currency weakened to 56.77, the weakest to date, surpassing its previous record low of 56.45 hit on September 27, 2004, according to Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation Chief Economist Michael Ricafort. That wraps up the stories tonight. Catch us again on Monday, only here at Daily Tribune's Facebook page. Again, this is Elmer Navarro Manuel, and you're watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good night, and God bless us all.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tercito are available on our community Viber.
We would like to thank the following: Araneta, Pag-ibig, SM Supermall, Veteran, Divina Law Offices, ICTSI, Xlog, Globe, Kia, PLDT, Cherry, Tanawan, Prime Homes, RLC, Pure Gold, Meralco, and SM Retail.
Sabihin mo sa akin kung paano ang damdamin na nilumot na. Kung pilitin pang kumapit, ngunit tila di na pwede pa. Sa'yo'y wari kay daling limutin mga alaala nating dalawa. Ngayon naiwan sa kahapon kung saan pwedeng mahawakan ka. Sabihin mo kung kakapit o lilimot na. Ang puso ba'y lalaban o titigil na ako? Kumapit ba'y kakapit ka? Ako na lang naiwan na nag-iisa. Kakalimutang pilit na yung mga tao at himig na namumutawisa. Sa aking puso na mapilit, bakit di ko pa naisip? Napagod ka na. Sabihin mo ako, kakapit o lilimot na. Ang puso ba'y lalaban o titigil na ako? sabihin